Hi, I will be your guide in learning how to operate the Cakelandish project. This video will teach you how to set up the project on your personal machine, and later on how to host it on a remote server for the long term. This is where you'll want to go to install the project. Note a few things. This is a self-hosted server. You'll have to install the server on your computer in order for it to run. It's not a static site generator. There's a custom-made backend for important operations of the website. There are no libraries that are needed to be installed on your operating system. You can simply run an executable and all the downloaded front-end files. There are no build processes, so no webpack or rollup. All changes to the web pages will take effect instantly with no downtime. Here's what the site looks like on the main page. You can follow other people's sites with RSS. And whenever you make a new post, there's automatic RSS integration so that your posts will also be shown in an RSS feed. In the admin page, you're able to export and import all of your data, so it's very easy to save everything. You also have full control over the front end through the custom pages and files page. You can manage all of your front end files here. The project also comes with a TOTP authentication system, and the GitHub project comes with a complimentary wiki to explain more of the features that this project has. Before we get started, you'll need the following applications: a browser, a text editor, a terminal, and a file manager application on your operating system. I'm going to go through two different ways of installing the project. One is for those who are more familiar with the command line, and one is for those that aren't. So the first method requires you to have Git and Dino.js installed on your computer. Once you do that, you can go ahead and perform the git clone operation in your terminal to download the project. After it's downloaded, you can go into the Cakelandish directory and then type the following: dino task dev. It'll perform some setup, and when it's ready, the application will be launched on localhost. Here's the second way to install Cakelandish. You can click on this code button and download the zip. Once it downloads onto your computer, you can go ahead and take that file and move it somewhere where you want to unzip it. Once you extract the files, you'll have almost everything you need, but you will still need the executable. This is where you go to the releases page on the GitHub. Find the latest release, click on this assets dropdown, and find the appropriate executable for your operating system. For me, it's Cakelandish Linux. Do not download the Keep Alive. Once you've downloaded the executable, move it inside the root directory of the folder which you just extracted. It should be present within all these other files here. Then in your terminal, you can give executable permissions to the file you just downloaded, and then run it like so. The project will be available on localhost. Once you made it to this page, you're ready to start test posting. You may do that by pressing the New Post button on the top left. This is the HTML editor. You will edit your post on this side of the screen, and on the right side of the screen is how it will look when the post is created. You may write raw HTML, or you may switch to the built-in text editor for a more user-friendly experience. We even support LaTeX. Once you're ready, you may click on the Code View button, copy the HTML that it generated, switch back to this view, and paste it in. There are two outputs that will be generated. This is what will be shown on the web page, and this is what will be shown on the RSS feed for anyone that subscribes to your website over RSS. You are able to save the post as a draft or publish it immediately. Drafted posts and published posts will show up on this page. You may edit drafts and publish them from here. You are automatically subscribed to to your own feed, so when you make a new post, you will see it on your own feed here. Now, before I demonstrate how to find feeds on the internet, let me briefly explain what RSS is. RSS stands for Really Simple Syndication, and it has been around for a long time, and a lot of sites still support it. It just allows you to subscribe to a website for updates when they post. The older format is RSS files, and the newer format are Atom files. Cakelandish does Atom files. Now, let me show you how to find feeds on the internet. Here's an example of a Tumblr. In order to find a feed quickly, you can simply right-click on the page when it loads, click on Inspect, and look at the HTML. From here, you can either type in RSS to find an RSS feed, or Atom to find an Atom feed. In this case, Tumblr uses RSS. It should appear under the head element. When you see this link with type application/RSS plus XML, this is when you know you found the feed. You click on this link, copy it, and paste it back in to the URL field on your Cakelandish instance. And now you'll get updates from that Tumblr. Some indie sites will gladly tell you that they support RSS and have either an icon of this nature or just say the word RSS. In this case, clicking on this will download an RSS file, but we don't want to download it in this case. In this case, I'm just going to right-click on that, inspect, and find the path where this RSS file is located. Here the reference is /comics/RSS, so what I'm going to do is just copy the whole web page, go to add another feed, paste that base URL in, and then also copy the relative part of the URL. Now when I add the feed, it will also show up here. Some sites will support it, but won't outright say that they do. So you will be surprised at what sites actually support RSS if you inspect the HTML. Here's my Cakelandish instance. In this case, this site does not support RSS files but an Atom file, so you will not find the feed file by typing in RSS. In the search, you will have to type in Atom, and you will look for application/Atom plus XML. And here's the relative location of that. Blue Sky supports RSS too, but it's a little more tricky. You'll go to a Blue Sky page, right-click Inspect. Sometimes, for some reason, the RSS file does not show on the head, and you may have to refresh the page. Just like before, you'll search in the HTML, RSS, find this href, and then copy it over. The URL in this case is a little obtuse. Also note that Blue Sky does not support image embeds and the RSS feeds, which is unfortunate. Lastly, let me show a Mastodon feed. A lot of Mastodon instances also support RSS. Here's the page for EFF. Just like before, you'll go to Inspect, type in RSS, and find the feed file. And then copy it over and give it a good name. And that's how you find files on the internet for feeds. You can search through your posts through this interface. If you click on Search Posts, you will find a bunch of different types in which to search: category, title, content, date range, and whether images are included. Let's say, for example, I only want to find posts that contain the word cat. I will go to Content, type cat into this value field, and then click on Add Filter. So now, only posts that contain the string cat will show up in the feed. There's also tag blacklisting and hiding. Let's say you don't want to see posts with a certain tag. In this case, I'm going to add this Scooge cat to the hidden tags. We'll go to hidden tags here, type into the new tag field, and click on Add Tag. Now when you refresh the page, all posts that contain that tag will be hidden to user preferences. And I've been demonstrating this already, but if you click on these eye icons next to the feed, you will only see posts from that feed. If you click on the open eye again, you'll go back to seeing all feeds. Let me show the layout file. When you make a new post, it automatically gets embedded into an HTML file with some pre-written data. You can see that data by going to Edit Post Layout. Every one of the posts that you make will have its content injected into this file using this format, 3% sign content 3% sign. You can also play around in here and see all the other metadata that gets injected, such as title, categories, updated date, and more. Let's say I want to change it and remove all of the hashtags here. This is the P field where all the categories are being displayed. I can simply remove it, see the updates in real time in the preview window, and then click Submit Layout. You also have full control over all of the front-end pages that get served to the user. You can edit these pages using this button, Manage Custom Pages and Files. Here you can upload new images or any type of media or file and edit some of them in the browser, such as this robots.txt file. If you click on this scary checkbox, you can see all of the important files that Cakelandish needs to operate for the front end. You should be very careful when editing these, but let me show an example. Let's say you want to edit the CSS files. You will go find main.css and click on Edit File. CSS files do not have to be re-uploaded to be replaced. You can edit them in the text box up here. Now what I'm going to do is update the variables of these accent colors into a different scheme. This will update the colors for the whole site. This will override all of the colors, and when I go to save the page and refresh, the colors should update. You can even edit the page that you are looking at right now. The page.html file is present in here. If you click on Edit File, it will also show the preview of the HTML on the right. And this is the very page we're on. Inception. Now let's view the admin page. The admin tools has a few useful things, such as exporting and importing data. There's also a few other fields that are useful here, but let's focus on the traffic feature. In order to enable the traffic feature, you'll have to update your .env file that will be present inside the root folder of Cakelandish. I'm going to stop the process, go inside Cakelandish, and make a new file. This file must be called .env. I will then edit this file to include this environment variable, enable traffic logs, and set it to true. You may find all the environment variables in the Cakelandish wiki, scrolling down to environment configuration. This configuration will let us see traffic logs. If I go ahead and then restart the process, we will need about a minute to generate data, but it will show up here in the admin settings after 1 minute. After waiting for a moment, we now get traffic log data. It will show you time data, the number of pages that were accessed over time, the specific page data of what was the most frequently accessed page, and IP data, most frequently used IPs to connect to your server. In this case, obviously this is just running on our local computer, so only localhost will show up in the IP. If you're happy with Cakelandish and you wish to install it remotely on a machine, you'll have to go through some further steps. I explain all these steps in the wiki under self-hosting your server, but for the sake of demonstration, I will also show how to do such a thing using two specific services, DigitalOcean and Porkbun. You will need some type of rented server to host your server on, and you will need a registrar such as Porkbun to get a domain and to issue SSL certificates with. So for me, I'm going to create a simple small droplet using DigitalOcean. Once it's created, I'm going to just access the terminal through the console in the browser. So after that, what I'm going to do is take the IP of the machine that it got allocated, an IPv4 address, copy it, and when I register for a new domain, I'm going to take that domain and point it to that server. In this case, I'm just going to go and make an A record where the host is test.cakelandish.com and the value is the IP address of that machine. So eventually when this gets set up and a user goes to test.cakelandish.com, it will point to this test instance machine. So now what I'm going to do is perform remote setup. In this case, I'm just going to download the project files and also the executable. I'm going to take this zip link and then type wget, paste in Cakelandish. It gets downloaded. Now unzip it here. apt installs unzip first. And now go inside here. Now I'll go to releases, download 2 files. I'm going to download the Cakelandish Linux executable, wget, paste that file in. And I'm going to also download the keep alive script. What this keep alive script does is if Cakelandish crashes for some reason, the keep alive script will kick it back into life, basically. Once I've confirmed they downloaded, I will give them executable permissions. Another quirk is the keep alive script requires the Cakelandish executable to be named Cakelandish with an uppercase C. So I'm going to rename the file here. Okay, that should be set up. So the next step is to get our certificate. The SSL certificate process that I will be using is certbot. Since I'm using Ubuntu, I'm just going to copy this instructions from the wiki and paste them into here to install the necessary libraries. Once I run the standalone executable, it's going to ask me some questions. I would actually like it to be test.cakelandish.com, just for my case. If you see successfully received certificate, it will generate these 2 files. This is the certificate information you'll need to pass to your server for it to serve your content over HTTPS. So now when I run the server, I will want that information, which is generously provided in the wiki here. I'll need to make an env file in this directory where the executables and files are. I use nano personally, so nano.env. I'm going to copy most of this information. Actually, I'll copy all of it. So this just says to run on port 443, that's the standard HTTPS port, enabling HTTPS, JSON Web Tokens. This will make it so that your server is requiring to authenticate in some way. The host is going to be test.cakelandish.com. And I will edit the other 2 files in a moment. So this must exactly match. It almost matches, but the domain here is test.cakelandish.com. So I'm going to go edit that file and place the domain here. Okay. And lastly, I believe everything here I've set up correctly. I just need to run the keep alive script, which will let the process run even when I'm not on this terminal. So it will just run forever unless something really bad happens. And notice there is a QR code that's printed here. This is the authentication system for Cakelandish. So if I go to test.cakelandish.com now, it should point to this server over HTTPS. using the certificate that was just generated. But now, instead of showing that other homepage, we see an unauthenticated view. We need to authenticate ourselves now. This is where we'll use the login.html page to do that. Now we need authorization. So in this case, you'll need the phone. I use Google Authenticator. You can use just some authentication app that supports this QR code. You will not be seeing this, but I am opening my Authenticator app on my phone and QR code scanning this printout. Now, you can't just take the code and paste it in here and be authenticated. You'll actually have to activate authentication, which will open the ability to authenticate for a brief period of time. This is so it doesn't just stay open forever and allow some bad actor to brute force their way. So to do that, we will do Cakelandish executable and then type in code as the first argument. We will have 10 minutes then to type in our code into this field to authenticate ourselves. I'm now authenticated. And now I can use my site like normal, but to everyone else that sees the site, they will not be able to edit your files or do anything or perform any operations like editing the front end files, which is a good thing. You don't want that. There's one more thing I'd like to mention. So in addition to the wiki on the project GitHub, where you can see all the information you need to set up your server and learn how to use it, I've also started a forum at this URL where you can talk about your own Cakelandish instances or just about indie website development in general. And if you like and support the project, you can donate to my coffee at this link, and it would be much appreciated. That's all. Thank you.